you are going to die. And the fact that you spend every single day pretending you won't is exactly why your life feels so incredibly stuck. We live in a society that is terrified of mortality. Then we numb our minds, endless scrolling just to avoid sitting in silence with the one absolute truth of human existence. You don't know if you have tomorrow. You don't have that assurance. We think we have a lot of time, but it's just a fraction. You don't remember when you were 15. You don't remember when you were 10. It's like time is just flowing. Let me tell you a little story which was given in Katha Upanishad. In the Katha Upanishad, this exact psychological crisis was defined through a young boy named Nachiket. Nachiket was sent to the underworld straight to the gates of Yam, the god of death. But Yam wasn't there. So this little boy sat at the door of death for 3 entire days without food, without water, just waiting for Yam. When Yam finally arrived, he was shocked. To compensate for making a Brahmin guest wait, death offered Nachiket 3 boons. Now let me tell you about the final boon. Nachiket asked for the ultimate truth. What happens after death? And what is the true nature of the self? Yam tried to distract him. This is the most crucial part of the story. Death didn't want to reveal the secret. So he offered Nachiket what modern society calls success. Yam offered him infinite wealth, beautiful women, chariots, massive empires, and a lifespan of thousands of years. But Nachiket laughed. He looked at the god of death and essentially said, "Keep your chariots, Yam, keep the wealth, because no matter how long I live, eventually it all ends with you. What good is a temporary pleasure when the ultimate end is absolute, when it is the only truth that exists?" Nachiket rejected the ultimate dopamine hit because he understood something that modern psychology is only just catching up to. In 1973, there was a cultural anthropologist, Ernest Becker. He wrote a Pulitzer Prize winning book called The Denial of Death. Becker proved that human beings are the only species on earth fully aware of their own mortality. And because that thought is so utterly terrifying, our brains create defense mechanisms to escape it, to avoid it. Becker called them immortality projects. We desperately try to build things that will outlast us. We chase millions of followers. We obsess over leaving a legacy. We buy luxury cars we can't afford just to feel significant. We climb corporate ladders and fight with strangers on the internet, all as a subconscious shield to distract us from the fact that we are temporary. But hiding from death doesn't make you live longer. It just makes you live a cowardly life. The Stoic philosophers shared the exact same frequency as the Vedic sages. Emperor Marcus Aurelius and the philosopher Seneca, if you would know him, practiced something called memento mori, which translates to remember, you must die. Now, they didn't do this to be depressed. They did it because death is the ultimate clarity. Seneca famously wrote, "You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire." Like everything that you desire is going to last forever. Think about your own life right now. You're delaying that business idea for someday. You're waiting for the right time to get into shape. You're staying in a toxic relationship because you think you have infinite tomorrows to figure it all out. You're living under the grand delusion of limitless time when you desire things, when you want things, when you want to build things. But when you truly internalize memento mori, when you look Yam in the face like Nachiketa did, something magical happens in your brain. Your ego evaporates. Why are you afraid of failing on YouTube, in life? because you're afraid people will laugh at you. But if you truly realize that in 100 years, you, the people laughing at you, and the platform itself will be dust, maybe that fear vanishes. None of this would matter. Maybe 200 years later, the realization of death is the absolute cure for the disease of caring what other people think. What would they say? The German philosopher Martin Heidegger said that most of us live in a state of inauthenticity because we simply follow the herd, trying to forget our mortality. But the moment you accept your being towards death, the moment you realize the deadline, that it's real, you suddenly enter authenticity. You enter that state that, okay, this is all temporary. You stop wasting hours on cheap entertainment. You stop arguing over trivial nonsense. You start speaking your truth. You start presenting yourself in a way that aligns with you, loving deeply, executing relentlessly. And society tells you that thinking about the end is pessimistic. The scriptures and the greatest minds in history tell you the exact opposite. Death is not the opposite of life. It is the frame that gives the painting its value. If a football match had no timer, no one would run. The urgency is what makes the game beautiful. Stop treating your days like loose change that you can just throw away anytime. Stop building immortality projects to impress people you don't even know, you don't even like. Take a breath, look at your hands, feel the pulse in your wrist. It's not going to be there forever. That is a countdown timer. You don't need more motivation. You don't need another self-help book. You just need to wake up and realize that the god of death is already walking towards you. The only question is, what kind of life will you have lived by the time he gets here? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to be? How do you want to present yourself in front of the world? And if this gives you a little freedom that, okay, someday this is all going to end, and if I pretend to be a certain way, if I have not lived it the way I wanted to live it, it would be such a shame. So why fear? Why stop yourself to become anything, to start anything, to get into shape, anything? Why fear? Because the absolute truth is that this is temporary. It's an experience. Why limit yourself? Your soul is immortal. It's something that has no end, no beginning, because it belongs to the source. But this body is here to experience. It's here to remember. It's here to find joy in the little things. You look at these things, it's all beautiful. And what shame it would be to not experience it the way it is. Every breath you take, every moment that you experience, you need to feel that gratitude. That, okay, this is all temporary. And let's say an XYZ bad experience happened. It comes, you experience it, you let it go. Whatever comes, you experience it, you let it go. Don't hold on to things. Don't pretend to be anything that you're not. It's completely fine to mess up, to not have things, to not be a certain way, to fit in. You don't have to have it all. But the things that you have, you need to experience them. You need to find that joy in those things and be grateful that, okay, I can see sky. I can see my hands are working. I can see with both my eyes. There are trees. There's a little butterfly around me. You can be grateful for so many things if you want to be grateful. And I understand that your internal state can sometimes stop you from experiencing that joy. But when you realize that it's all temporary, you don't accumulate grief. It will be there, but you won't make it like a hoarding inside you. Your museum of failure does not matter. It's how you experience life. It's how happy you are at the end. That's what will matter, right? So the Mool mantra is look around you. There are things that you can be grateful for. And be happy. Take care of yourself. Right? I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. This is Paralingam signing off. Namaste.